Good evening. We're going to start in about 2 minutes, so if you could make your way back to your seats. Okay, this is your 1-minute warning. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you. That's it. Good evening and welcome to the 47th Annual School Committee Conference. On behalf of the Board of Trustees of Frontier School Division, I'm very pleased to welcome all of you here. I'm Linda Ballantyne and I'm chair of the board. Woo! And at this time, I'm going to ask Tyson if you'd come forward, please.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to acknowledge the territory in which we work on across our province. Frontier School Division actively works towards truth and reconciliation by authentically integrating Indigenous ways of knowing, doing, and being in learning environments, and by creating opportunities for students to connect and build relationships with themselves, their community, and the land in which they live. We acknowledge today that we are gathered on Treaty 1 territory. Frontier School Division comprises of Treaty 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. And we are also on the national homeland of the Red River Métis. And the ancestral lands is the Anishinaabe, Innuak, Dakota Otea, and we also welcome our relatives from ancestral lands throughout Manitoba, including the Ishinuak, as well as the Dene Sulin peoples. In the spirit of truth, reconciliation, and unity, while uplifting and honoring the profound contributions that Indigenous communities bring to education for our children, we will seek to understand our shared history of Canada, resulting in strengthening relationships of mutual respect. The knowledge systems of Indigenous communities will direct and guide the path to Minnow Pemistuin, the good life. We commit to this as long as the sun shines, the grass grows, and the river flows. Egosay.
Please stand for an opening prayer. Ayamiatan. Nananaskumau kstimandu, nanigisigaw egi minubeak. Egamina egi minutagusanak. Kstimandu, nananaskumitin, umaustimeetum kawiutinabak. Sawenta katiminaskaviak. Minasawena menkanigig kagi kego managegon kayat tumitichik. Kanawena minikakinaw. Kanawena mikkakinaw ni wakumaganak. Kanawena minaangakinaw. Minasawena mina. Sawena mina. Ikusin. So before we begin our meal, I have a few introductions that I'd like to make. I'm going to begin by introducing our board, so I would ask if they would stand, please, as I call their names. From Area 1, we have Hilbert Mosiand, and Hilbert's from Waboden, and Graham Montgomery from South Indian Lake. I said stand. From From area 2, my area, my fellow trustee, Diane Trombla from Waterhen. From area 3, Mark Imrie from Falcon Lake and Tanya Friesen from Bissett. From area 4, Marion Pearson from Cranberry Portage. And Marion is standing. Marion's our vice chair, and she's our vice chair. And also from area 4, Donna Calvert, and Donna's from Sheridan. From area 5, we have Charlene Troop and Mike Muswagon from Norway House. We're very pleased that you're here with us to celebrate the official opening of the 47th Annual School Committee Conference. I take great pleasure now in introducing some of our honored guests. We're very fortunate to have a long list of guests joining us, and in order to honor them all equally, I would ask that you hold your applause until I have welcomed everyone. From Mississippi Cree Nation, Chief Heidi Cook. Stand up, but don't clap, don't clap. From Marcel Cologne, Chief Delilah Hart and Sarah Kopape, the Education Director. Opipinapawin Cree Nation, Chief Shirley Descharme and her guest Steve Descharme. From Norway House Cree Nation, Christina Mitchell, Counselor. Dauphin River First Nation, Chief Lawrence Latander. Keewatin Tribal Council, Margie Okimau, High School Counselor. From the Treaty Relations Commission, Loretta Ross, Treaty Commissioner, and Amanda Simard, Education Manager. From the Province of Manitoba, the Honorable Ian Bushy, Minister of Natural Resources and Indigenous Futures. Ian is also the MLA for Keewatin constituency. Honorable Nahani Fontaine, with her long list of titles. She's the Minister of Families, the Minister responsible for accessibility, Minister responsible for Women and Gender Equity Manitoba. Honorable Bernadette Smith, she's the Minister of Housing, Addictions and Homelessness and the Minister responsible for Mental Health. Rachel Bradburn, Executive Assistant to Minister Smith. From the Province of Manitoba, Manitoba Education and Early Childhood Learning, Mona Pandy. Deputy Minister, Manitoba Education and Early Childhood Learning. Jeffrey Keller, Assistant Deputy Minister, System Performance and Accountability Design. Not here. Oh, he's here? Did he stand up? Oh, there, okay. Sorry, can't see with these lights. Jackie Connell, Assistant Deputy Minister, Indigenous Excellence in Education. Jordan Bighorn, Director, Indigenous Excellence in Education. Kate McNeil, Assistant Director, Indigenous Excellence in Education. I know she's here because I saw her. From the Manitoba Métis Federation, Joanne Remillard, Provincial Education Minister. Joan Ledoux, Assistant Minister of Education. Jessie Gare, Executive Director, Louis Riel Institute. Miranda Dolan, Interim Director, Provincial Education. For the Manitoba School Boards Association, Cheryl Smukowicz, Vice President. Is that your right title? She's got a new title. Sandy Nemeth, Past President. Elizabeth Mitchell, Senior Labor Relations and Human Resource Services. Anna Evangelista, Region 6 Director. From the Manitoba Association of School Superintendents, Dan Ward, Co-President. Barb Isaac, Executive Director, University of Manitoba Faculty of Education. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. University of Manitoba, the Faculty of Education, Dr. Jan Stewart, the Dean. Dr. Marty Ford, Associate Dean, Indigenous Education, Assistant Professor, Education Administration, Foundations and Psychology. Randy Desmarais, MyTEP Coordinator. My new best friend. The University of Winnipeg Faculty of Education, Dr. Lorianne Helston, the Dean. And Wayne Davis, Instructor and Director of Student Teaching. From TJ's Gift Foundation, Karen Weeb, Executive Director. From the Manitoba Teachers Society, Marlyn Felwich, Executive Director. Oh, you're here. Okay, we have the Director. So mine is blank. Oh yes, Sarah Gazan. Turner. No, Gazan. Sarah. Sorry. Frontier Teachers Association, Natalie Major, President. And we have our jury art adjudicators, Hans Arnold and Shauna Grappentine. And we have someone from the Graffiti Art Gallery. No? Those were our adjudicators. Also joining us are our past chief superintendents. We've got Kevin Van Kemp, Ray Dirksen, and Reg Clausen. And the area superintendents of our division, we have Tyson McGilvery, who is our chief superintendent. Don McCaskill, Area 1. Robert Chartrand, Area 2 Superintendent. Tammy Brandt, who's our Area 3 Superintendent. Darren Kindon, Area 4 Superintendent. Candace Wilson, Area 5 Superintendent. We have with us also Rena Whitford, who's our Assistant Superintendent Designate for Indigenous Way of Life. Erica Hildebrand, who is our Assistant Superintendent, Academic Programs and Instruction. Megan Clements de Silva, Assistant Superintendent for Student Services and Wellness. Bradley Hampson, Assistant Superintendent, Technology. Brent Johnson, Assistant Superintendent, Senior Years and Career Studies. And the most important person in the whole room, our Secretary Treasurer, Paul Critchley. Where is he? Oh, right there, okay. Yeah. We also have with us a lot of our division staff. I'd like to acknowledge and welcome all of the staff in attendance. We have with us school administrators and staff from all of the 5 areas of the division. We also have our conference planning committee, without whom none of this would be possible. The Frontier School Division Board and our school committees appreciate all the work that you do all of the work that all of our special guests do to support our students and our communities across the division. Please join me in showing our appreciation. going to now briefly review the activities that are going to take place this evening. In a few minutes, we'll have the introduction and the opening of the annual Juried Art Show. The art show will be available for viewing until the conference closing. So it'll be open all evening. You can go over and view some of the artwork. You will no doubt be impressed with our students' artistic abilities, so please take a few minutes to check out the artwork over the evening. You will also notice that there are a number of pieces that are available for sale. At 7 o'clock, we're going to present the Frontier Achievement Award, which will be followed at 7:30 by the Frontiers Got Talent Showcase. Now at this time, I'm going to ask Tammy Brandt, who's our Area 3 Superintendent, to introduce the Juried Art Show. And we will have the ribbon cutting. One of Tammy's responsibilities is Fine Arts for Frontier School Division. Tammy?
Good evening, Frontier family. As Linda just shared, I hold the responsibility for fine arts. Little did I know that was going to include a whole lot of other duties as assigned. But tonight I have the privilege of welcoming you to our annual Juried Art Show. This year we have introduced a few new categories. This is to ensure that our art show continues to reflect and celebrate our students' diverse gifts and talents, and that our focus on Indigenous ways of life continues to be featured. We are now including our students' talents in the categories of beading, textiles, and woodwork. You'll also see that our annual art show now includes students from grades 5 and 6. This is to provide an opportunity for even more of our young artists to share their talents with us. A huge thank you to the judges that joined us this year, as well as to Graffiti Art Gallery. Following this year's art show, a number of our pieces will be featured at Graffiti Art Gallery's Winnipeg Gallery for a broader audience to view and enjoy. For those of you interested in purchasing pieces of art, please don't hesitate to come and see me or our Area 3 Admin Officer, who I'm very thankful for. Doreena's in the back corner. And don't forget to vote for that People's Choice Award. Ballots are at the back of the room. We'll be announcing the winner on Friday. And with that, I am honored to welcome our Frontier School Division trustees for the ribbon cutting so that we can officially open our annual Juried Art Show. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Dinner will now be served. Excuse me. Sorry, but I missed a page in my notes. I'm very pleased to invite Minister Nahani Fontaine up to bring greetings on behalf of the province.
Okay, well, this is awkward because now I know I am standing in between everybody and food. So I'm going to be very, very quick here. It's a pleasure to be here this evening and bring greetings on behalf of the province of Manitoba, Premier Walk Canoe, the Honourable Tracy Schmidt, Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning, and some of my other colleagues that are here for the 47th Annual School Committee Conference. I just want to say good evening to everyone, and I just want to, again, I know I'm standing in between everybody's supper and bread. I see bread. I'm very excited about some bread and butter. I just want to share this. I'm not sure if everybody knows that one of the basic, or one of the core principles of our government, and it was a commitment, it was a sacred commitment that we made during the 2023 election, was that our government wanted to ensure that more children reach their 18th birthday. It really is the core of everything that we do in government. And that means a variety of different things. It means ensuring that children have what they need when their mother is pregnant with them, when they're babies, all the way up to school. And so it's really important for us to be here and to highlight and honor each and every one of you and the students. It really is something that we take seriously as a sacred responsibility of our government to ensure that our children have the best possible life that they can, that they have all the opportunities that everybody else has in our province or across Canada. So I really do want to just take a moment to thank each and every one of you, all of the educators, all of the school trustees, everybody that works so hard to ensure that we have an education system that is responsive, that is culturally safe and representative of our people, and all of you folks do this good work so much. So I want to just lift you up and say miigwech. I just also want to say this. Congratulations to Grand Chief Satie for the Frontier Achievement Award. You know, I work with a lot of folks across the province, and I want to say that Grand Chief Satie is one of my favorite people. He is one of my favorite leaders, and I think that my other colleagues that are here would agree with me. And people may not know this. I'm responsible, there's actually two ministers that are responsible for emergency services here tonight for the province of Manitoba. I'm responsible for all of like the hotels and the food and all of that stuff, and Minister is responsible for, him and Minister Naylor are responsible for everything else. What I will share with folks, because people don't know this, is that this, when we had the wildfire season in the summer, it was the first time in our history that we had a one Manitoba approach. It wasn't divided between what was the federal responsibility and what was provincial responsibility. We all worked together. And I can tell you that MKO, under the leadership of Grand Chief Satie, worked with our department to ensure that his people, his communities were taken care of. And I've said this to him before, that I honor so much that ability to work with government and to work together. So congratulations to you. I absolutely love and adore you. I just want to say this, and this is my final thing. I believe so much in education that my two sons, tomorrow is their last day in education. So my oldest, he already has a bachelor of, he's got a bachelor of political science, and he's got a master's of political science. He worked for one of our political organizations, I won't say who. Turns out he doesn't like politics. I encouraged him to go back to school, and tomorrow he finishes with his Bachelor of Education, and he'll be teaching English and history. My youngest, Nichanis, is teaching at Children of the Earth. He's just finishing, tomorrow will be his first year of education. He is what some principals have already called a unicorn. Next year when he graduates, he'll be
to be able to do this. The award was established in 1998, in January of 1998, to recognize and honor the achievements of Frontiers graduates, as well as those who've attended a Frontier school, including the home placement program. This award is presented annually to an individual demonstrating commitment and excellence in their fields beyond the scope of their role, positive role modeling, and outstanding contributions to the benefit of others. It is my pleasure to introduce this year's award winner. The Frontier Achievement Award for 2026 is Grand Chief Garrison Settee. Garrison is an Innu from Pimichikamak Cree Nation and was raised in a proud Cree-speaking home grounded in strong spiritual values and a deep respect for hard work. Those early lessons continue to guide his leadership and service today. Garrison attended Frontier Collegiate in Cranberry Portage and R.D. Parker in Thompson. He then went on to earn his Bachelor of Education degree from Brandon University and then went on to teach grade 12 students. As an educator, he introduced students to critical issues surrounding First Nations studies and First Nations laws, inspiring many through his knowledge and lived experience. Encouraged by students and members of his community, Garrison entered public service and was elected to the Pimichikamak First Nation, first as a councillor and then later on as chief from 2008 to 2013. During his service to the Pimichikamak community, Garrison was involved in a wide range of councils and committees, including education, the Executive Council of the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs, the Manitoba Kiwetinook Ugmakanak, and the Assembly of First Nations Committee on Education. He was also a member of the Peacekeeper Patrol, the Gang Violence Strategy. A dedicated advocate for the North, he was first elected to MKO in 2018 and secured a third term in 2024. He continues to champion the interests of the 26 First Nations that he represents. And among the notable highlights of his advocacy for Indigenous people, Garrison represented MKO at the United Nations meetings in Geneva focused on the treatment of Indigenous peoples. Through lobbying efforts with an MP for the Liberal Party to bring forth the issue of Jordan's Principle, resulting in the issue being raised in Parliament and for the first time in the House of Commons. Served as the principal proponent of a resolution at the Assembly of First Nations calling for an inquiry into missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. Garrison continues his advocacy and unwavering commitment to Indigenous peoples, and through his leadership is most deserving of this award. Garrison, please come up and get your award. You have about 2 hours. Is that enough?
Okay, I'll say a few words.
So this gift is also Garrison's. This gift over here, I'm not sure what it is, but
Right.
okay.
Say a few words?
So yes, please say a few words.
Okay.
Yes. I don't know half the word. Right?
Tanse, temak nitsasanak, niwagumaga nagtatabiskat now, This evening, I feel I'm amongst friends, and it is a good feeling. I want to thank every one of you being here to share this moment with me.
Do you want your glasses?
So anyway, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the invocation that was done at the beginning of our evening. I want to thank Linda for that gracious prayer that she offered on our behalf. I want to say thank you for that. I want to make a few acknowledgments. Superintendent Tyson McGilvery, thank you. Thank you so much for your support and your consideration on my behalf. And my friend Darren Kinnan has become close to him for the last little while. Very good man, very good leader, and I'm thankful that you considered me to be in this list of very esteemed people. Thank you so much. And of course, I want to acknowledge the board from Frontier. I know that they are a powerhouse that innovate change and vision and bringing an academic excellence to our people all over our north. I want to say thank you for that. And I want to acknowledge some of my colleagues that are here. There's some chiefs that are here that I work with, and the chief from Pipunapuan Cree Nation, and also the acting Grand Chief of MKO, Shirley Ducharme, is here somewhere. There she is. I'm supposed to be on holiday, and she's taking over for me for a while. I was telling Ian yesterday, Minister Bushy, that I'm on holiday, and then he sees me, says, "I thought you were on holiday." And I want to also thank my friend Chief Heidi Cook. Thank you always for your support. You're an amazing woman. Chief Lawrence Tander, where are you? From Dauphin River. I want to say thank you for being here. And my good friend Ian, Minister Indian Bushy. That's your new name. Indian Bushy. Ian is a very good support for me and MKO, and always answers my calls. Appreciate that. And Nahani, where is the beautiful Nahani? Did she leave? Well, anyway, I just want to thank her for her kind words. I paid her $50 to say those kind words, and that she accepted. And I also want to acknowledge Ray Dirksen is my former boss. I think he's still here. He was boss when I was working in Cranberry Portage. And also Tony Martin was my other boss. He's sitting over there. I thought he went to heaven already, but he's still around. and I also want to acknowledge Linda Ballantyne. Almost 40 years ago, I entered into the workplace at Frontier Collegiate, and she always was around and in our conferences. And I know that she supported me and stood with me, and I'm very thankful for that, Linda. Thank you so much. And Marian Pearson, small but powerful woman. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your belief in me. And she supported me in my role in Frontier Collegiate. And also Gloria Sanderson was like a big sister to me. She kept me in line. And you know how unruly I was. But she kept talking to me, and I owe them a lot in my journey in life. And I also want to acknowledge my family here. My daughter is here. Her name is Crystal. Wait, but she's 37 and she's single. And my beautiful niece, Sheena, she's under 40 and she's single. And my beautiful niece, Twyla, not single. And where's my other beautiful niece, Janine? Right there. She claims to be the favorite niece, so that's up for debate. And my brother Morris, the guy I've been hanging around with for almost 45 years, he just won't go away. And this is my family, and a lot of relatives I see and friends in this great crowd this evening. And I will not be long today. But I wanted to share my experiences with Frontier School Collegiate and Frontier School Division. I was 15 years old when I entered Frontier Collegiate Institute. And And there I started my journey. And my journey through education is very unconventional. It's not the normal path that people take, but I kept taking little breaks in between, and I kept moving on. But in my defense, I always used to say, if you want to make a difference, you have to be different. Write that down. You have to be different, and but I also some of you are old enough to remember those days, but I remember those days when I went to school in a one-room classroom with grades 1 to 9, and that's how I started. It was called D.R. Hamilton in Cross Lake. That was my introduction to education, and at that time they did not have kindergarten or nursery. That shows how old I am now. And one of my students is here, Kevin Alt, and from Cranberry Portage. I'm very happy to see you. Very successful young man, and I'm very proud that you're here. So this is my experience with the Frontier School Division, and I started teaching before I got a teaching degree. That's what I mean. It's unconventional. I was hired to sub at D.R. Hamilton in Cross Lake when I was in my early 20s. Kept going. And eventually, they said, I think we'll hire you. There's this thing called a limited teaching permit. And we'll get you that. So they hired me to teach for a whole year. And that was my experience, and very little training. Actually, no training at all. I don't know how Frontier got away with that. But can I tell you a story about my one of my experiences? When you're not trained, you do a lot of stupid things. There's this one student, I will call the student Troy. Stayed outside. Wouldn't want to come in when all of the other students were in. I would have to go in outside and bring Troy in. Every day. I'd have to go outside and look for him. Didn't want to come in. So one day I used my residential school teacher approach of punishing. I put Troy in the corner. And then throughout the course of the classroom, people said, Troy wants to go to the Troy wants to go to the washroom. I said, nope. And then Troy wants to go to the washroom. No. he just wants to get out and play. And then about 10 minutes later, Troy is peeing in the corner. I'm glad there's no lawsuits. And I'm hoping the statutes of limitations have expired. But and then I went to ended up in Moose Lake. And there I started subbing again. And then superintendent at the time was Jerry Story. And they gave me the worst class in Shakagan school. I didn't know that. Teacher that taught grade 7 moved on to something abruptly, and then they got me to sub. I was keeping the kids entertained with my lame jokes and whatnot. And then I started staying there longer than I thought. And then one day the superintendent walked in the classroom and stood at the back of the classroom, just kind of minding my own business. He says, you seem to have a knack for this kind of work. He says, have you ever considered being a teacher? And I thought about it. And then so anyway, began my journey, and they accepted me into the Penn program in Cranberry Portage at Frontier Collegiate. And I started working there. And they gave me a class to teach. I taught Cree for the first time. Cree was taught in that high school in its history. And I was able to do that. Allowed me to do that. And then I worked with Barry Phillips, a very scholarly intellectual, and he was teaching First Nation studies, and I worked alongside him. And he taught me a lot of things, and he allowed me to teach self-government. He allowed me to teach about treaties and so forth. So I began to teach and went through this program. And Cranberry Portage is a great school. Cranberry Portage, Frontier Collegiate, one of the best schools in the nation, because I went there and I taught there. And I appreciate that experience, because one of the things I tell people, when I was there, everybody treated me like an equal. I was the only Indigenous person in that school, but everybody made me feel welcome and accepted me, and that felt very good. Felt very good. So I owe a lot to Frontier for allowing me to spread my wings and to focus on what I would like to do in education, because I know that in our schools, you know, the science guys, right? They walk around, they're really uppity and snotty. And then there's the math teachers, right? And the biology, they're all, you know, they just exude that knowledge, and they're recognized for those things. And I didn't have any of those things. I was not good at math, but I taught English as a second language, and I taught language arts. I was not really good at it, but I did it anyway. But one of the things I wanted to do, I wish I could excel in one subject, and that choice was First Nation Studies. And I continue to learn and teach. I took courses through University of Victoria on Indigenous law, Indigenous resistance, self-government, and the history of the Indigenous people in the state. I immersed myself in that, and they allowed me to teach these courses. And eventually we piloted a program called Indigenous Law. And then after years and years of teaching, these students started talking to people. So this guy's teaching us all this stuff. You should get him to run for chief. And then they approached me a few times. I said, no, I'm a teacher. I'm not a politician. And they kept bugging me, and they kept bugging me. And then finally I said, I want to try this once. If it doesn't work, I'm not trying it again. But anyway, thus began my career in leadership. But I'm very thankful that I was able to serve our people. You know, I was able to serve our people, and I continue to do that, because it's not a job for me. It's something that I do from here. Something I want to do because I feel there's some areas where somebody needs to speak, somebody needs to talk about the issues, and that's what I do. And I'm very thankful that I'm receiving an acknowledgement. I've never won anything really, other than elections in school. And I'll tell you a story. I'm closing with this. When I was in the first grade, I went to track and field day. And I ran all day, jumped, raced. At the end of the day, I only had one ribbon. It was a white ribbon. It was third in the high jump. And everybody pointed at my one ribbon and made fun of me. I was wounded and devastated. I never went back to track and field day. Fast forward seven years, I was in grade 7. Some of my bros said, let's go to track and field day. I said, no, not me. Come on, it'll be fun. We're all going. So there again, I ran, I jumped, I did everything. And I ended up with one ribbon. It was a white one. And it was in the high jump. So anyway, that's my athletic career was gone there. But I want to say thank you, everybody, for taking the time to be here. And I want to say thank you, Frontier Collegiate, for giving me the wings to fly. You've taken me far, and I still have far to go. But thank you so much. Acknowledgment now. Hi.
Thank you, Garrison. You've been very inspiring and very deserving. I'm going to ask Tammy Brandt to introduce Frontiers Got Talent. And while she's coming up here, I just want to acknowledge the chaperones aren't in the room yet? Okay, then I'm not going to acknowledge them. You can do that when they come in. All right? It's all yours.
And if everybody's okay, we just need about 2 minutes to open up the doors, let the roaring students get in here and get settled. It's important that we give everybody a chance to settle because we are going to make sure that we start this evening, or at least the talent part of this evening, in a good way. So we're going to get some chairs on stage, we're going to get our students in, and we'll be started in just a minute. Thank you.